Okay. Come here, come on. Okay. A large and powerful predator that lives in small groups and fiercely defends its hunting grounds. Thickly armored skeleton suggests defensive adaptation either to larger predators or in-species aggression. Oh yeah, it's gonna look something up. Yeah, I don't think you get anything. So, well, at least according to the wiki, there would be something, definitely, if could. Bone shark, okay, thickly armored exoskeleton, something. Similar exoskeleton of the sand shark, suggesting the relatively recent common ancestor. 2. Large eyeballs consist of highly light sensitivity, likely running of luminescent prey in low light environments. Generally slow and unresponsive as a means of energy conservation, they will act with uncompromising speed and aggression towards any threat to their territory. So avoid, may be distracted by light sources. Bladder is slightly below a crab snake. Holy. I cannot believe that. Okay. This life form appears to live in symbiosis with the local flora. All encountered specimens have been located within 50 meters of a jellyshroom flora, frequently within the plants themselves. Jaws. The crab snake has 2 pairs of fangs and 1 larger claw on either side. It plunges those claws into its prey, locking them in place while the inner jaw tears through the flesh. Jellyshroom symbiosis. Jellyshroom provide the perfect layer from which to ambush their prey and protect their young. The presence of crab snakes likely deters herbivores from feeding on the jellyshroom itself, thus ensuring the relationship continues. Behavior. Crab snakes display territory behavior when threatened, patrolling the cave systems in which they reside. Assessment. Avoid. I like how this one's like really perfect high res and then this one's like really blurry. Crab squid. This large predator can be found in deep waters where it lurks amongst the blood kelp and membrane trees in search of prey. It can deploy a powerful electromagnetic pulse to defend itself. Limbs. 10 limbs. 10 limbs feature different appendages for swimming, walking, hunting, and possibly even tool use. Creatures caught in its grasp are expertly butchered and quickly consumed. Behavior. Rays and other illuminated Herbivores are usually prey, and it will approach and attack any light source in the vicinity. Its EMP blast was likely developed in response to predation by creatures with electrical hunting mechanisms. Intelligence. While crab squids appear to have large brains and resemblance of the intelligent squids of Earth, the organ inside the creature's head is in fact its stomach, which it must fill with startling regularity. Assessment. Neutralizes electrical equipment, lights, attracts its unwanted attention. Crash fish. Okay, this thing's lower than a blighter. A blighter. A crash fish. This unusual species has developed an emergency defense mechanism based on mutually assured destruction. Forward-mounted eye. Enables the creature to identify and track potential predators. Sulfur plant. Sulfur plant has evolved to feed on sulfuric compounds secreted by the crash fish, and which makes it nest within its leaves. Stronger, more protective plants provide superior nesting grounds, which in turn provides the plant with more nutrients from larger crash fish. Defense mechanisms. Concentrations of sulfur build up in the organism over time. If the crash fish collides with something at sufficient speed, the spikes on its torso are impacted, triggering an explosive chemical reaction. Assessment. Equip a stasis rifle, repulsion cannon, or similar before approaching shallow caves. A lizard. Medium-sized predator adapted for life in volcanic regions and remarkably able to spit molten rock at its foes. 4 mounted mandibles. Designed to do maximum damage to prey, sharp internal teeth tear through flesh and bone alike. Scar tissues. Likely due to regular exposure to magma, lava lizards build up a thick layer of scar tissue over time, which enables them to withstand ever greater temperatures inside and out. Behavior. It is able to both defend itself by burying its body in magma and go on the offensive by spitting molten rock at its foes. This doesn't avoid, especially in the presence of lava flow. Mesmer. Small carnivorous life form with a unique hunting mechanism that enables it to hypnotize its foes. Outer wings. The mesmer swims using a number of wings, which can be angled up and forward but on approaching prey. Tiny lenses on the surfaces can be tilted independently to create mesmerizing patterns, which flood the victim's brain with enticing messages, interpreted in whatever form is most convincing to the target. Outer shell. The mesmer can open the jaw-like recess in its protective outer shell in order to Error 463. Share its beauty. Do not exist. Assessment. Draw closer. River prowler. Fast, agile predator discovered at great depths. Jaws. Powerful jaws used for both swaying prey and warding off larger predators. Torso. Its eel-like torso is highly vulnerable, consisting of predominantly of spinal column and cartilage. It shows significant overlap with other eel-like predators on 45-46b. Attack profile. It will aggressively keep its jaw facing its opponent, but smaller, faster life forms may have an advantage. Assessment. Avoid. Sand shark. A powerful medium-sized predator that burrows into the sand and ambushes its prey from below. As with many predators, it may be possible to temporarily distract sharks by feeding any hungry specimens that draw close. 4. Dorsal fin. The unusual location of this fin suggests a purpose unrelated to movement through the water. It may be employed in shifting sand beneath the surface or in mating rituals, or may simply be an evolutionary dead end. Segmented exoskeleton. Thick armor plating renders the sand shark almost immune to attacks from above. While it is capable of impressive acceleration, its exoskeleton prevents it from changing direction quickly. The sand shark is thus a perfectly designed ambush hunter, but ill-suited to sustained pursuits. Feet. Ill-designed for ambulation, likely used to disturb the surface of the sand so the lifeform can burrow into the ground. Assessment. Avoid, be vigilant for ambush and sandy bombs. Stalker. Are these guys purple? They're purple. I thought they were green. Huh. A streamlined predator encountered in the kelp forest in wait of prey, leaving the safety of the shallows to feed. The stalker likely carved out its evolutionary niche at the sweet spot between speed and size millions of years ago, and may be one of the oldest species on this planet. The stalker appears to be attracted to titanium deposits, which tend to sharpen and put stress on its teeth. As with many predators, it may be possible to temporarily distract hungry stalkers by feeding them. Teeth. The stalker's teeth are unusually hard and fast-growing. Its elongated snout can deliver huge biting pressure to larger attackers, while also being used to reach small herbivores seeking refuge amongst the rocks. Night vision. Retinal layering on the eyes suggests adaptation for nighttime hunting. Dorsal ridges. These ridges can be moved independently to deliver superior maneuverability. Pelvic fins. Long and powerful, the stalker has evolved to hunt the fastest of prey. Assessment. Stalker teeth may have applications in enameled glass fabrication. Stalker teeth. Extended analysis of acquired dental samples has been completed. Samples match the species designated as stalker. Stalker teeth exhibit extraordinary lightness and strength and contain only trace amounts of calcium. The edges show signs of wear and are studded with metal flakes, proving evidence that stalkers chew on metal deposits in order to sharpen their teeth. Assessment. Applications as a natural substrate in enamel glass fabrication. Threat level unknown. Max. These guys are freaking deadlier than leviathans. Okay, Warper. An aggressive creature with the ability to teleport itself and other in spaces. No genetic crossover identified with indigenous lifeforms. Demonstrates no recognized offensive behavior. Head. Mechanism located in head region provide its warping capability used to stalk its targets. Torso. Appears to hunt other lifeforms, but no digestive organs have been identified. Internal structures considerably more complex than other known organisms, unable to distinguish whether organic or artificial in nature. Further research Okay, deceased. Ancient fossilized skeleton. The skeleton of a million-year-old armored carnivore. Projections suggest this lifeform would have been larger than any living creature encountered on the planet. Notions of the time would have been very different to support lifeforms of this size, with more open geography and many individuals in the Leviathan range. Gargantuan fossil. The fossilized remains of an extinct super predator. Its sheer size would have prohibited it from entering such an enclosed space, suggesting the geography of the planet has shifted around it over time, a true apex predator. Data at approximately 3 million years ago. Ribcage measurements suggest the creature was eel-like in structure. Calculations suggest this is only the front third of the specimen. The remains now support a vibrant microcosm ecosystem. Note, there is a series of precise angular indents on the ribcage, suggesting the third body has taken samples from the specimen at a previous time. Next, Leviathan fossils. These fossils likely came from the ancient ancestors of the Leviathans which inhabit the planet today. The relative size and delicacy of the bones suggest they formed part of the ear canal or some other complex internal structure. I gotta get some food.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Okay. The Leviathan skeleton. Lepers are ill-suited to high-temperature environments, suggesting this creature was forced down into the active lava zone by conditions outside of its control. Trace muscle tissue remains on the bones, indicating the specimen died in recent months. Burns and other physical damage to the skeletal structure likely became prey for something bigger. Remains of research specimen. The skeletal remains of a vast predator housed within an artificial habitat. The environment constructed to house the specimen suggests it was kept alive in containment for research purposes for months or even years. Organic matter indicates the habitats once support extensive plant life, though it has since decayed. When the facility collapsed, the specimen was either left to die or killed on the spot. Evolution. While it shares some skeletal traits with the biter and sand shark, including its distinctive double eye sockets, this fossilized specimen is significantly larger and features unusual forearms rarely seen in aquatic species. This species has likely gone extinct in the past 1,000 years, and its evolutionary relatives have evolved almost beyond recognition. Ribcage samples. A display case containing an array of rib cages harvested from indigenous life forms. There's a particular focus on the instance of vertebrate skeletal structures. While some of these skeletons match organisms encountered on the planet so far, most cannot be matched with confidence, suggesting either that there are species out there not yet accounted for, or that they have become extinct since these samples were collected. Sea dragon skeleton. The semi-intact skeletal structure of a Leviathan-class predator. Head trauma. There is clear evidence of massive physical trauma to the head. The damage is so severe it was likely the cause of death, and must have occurred somewhere nearby. Damage is consistent with a high-speed collision with a solid object. Age. Something in the environment has helped to preserve these remains, but calcium decay suggests an approximate time of death 1,000 years ago. Bone growth suggests the creature was in the egg-laying stage of its life cycle. Oh, it was the mother of the eggs and is mad, so it headbutted it. Herbivores large. Okay, crimson ray. One of the largest rays on the planet, displaying generally docile behavior. Thick scaling. Scales formed on the skin protect this ray from extreme temperatures, allowing it to survive in areas unpopulated by competing scavengers. Forward-mounted eye sockets suggest a predatory evolutionary history left behind long ago. Assessment inedible. Cuttlefish. A small gray-colored herbivore, the cuttlefish displays high levels of intelligence, curiosity, and attachment. Strangely, this species has not been encountered in the wild, and the scanned specimen had to be artificially hatched within an alien containment unit. Life cycle. In the absence of wild specimens, little can be known for certain about the cuttlefish's life cycle. It is possible that the environmental conditions have changed, forcing the species to the edge of extinction and leaving its eggs in a permanent stasis. It is also possible that the cuttlefish has been genetically altered, even imported from 4546b from another world. Behavior. We do not know that the cuttlefish is a herbivore which displays highly social behavior in its interspecies interactions. As was observed in earth dolphins before their extinction, this creature seems to understand the concepts of others' mind and prime indicator of true sentience, and attempts to communicate with a series of chirps and chirrups. Interaction. Evidence suggests the cuttlefish is capable of understanding and following simple commands, in addition to assessing the emotional state of individuals around it and responding in kind. Assessment. Emotional connection between living creatures is an essential component to psychological health. Okay. Gasopod. A slow-moving life form and one of the larger herbivores on the planet. Providing a substantial meal to would-be predators, the gasopod protects its domain by filling the surrounding water with poisonous and corrosive pods whose contents dissolve even synthetic fibers. Filtration system. Thick, non-reactive skin and multiple gill layers render this creature impervious to noxious acid clouds it produces. Algae gland. A bulbous sac-like appendage on the rear end. A luminescent yellow algae grows inside the sac and produce a poisonous compound. Abdominal muscles can contract, causing the algae gland to emit the noxious compound into the surrounding water. Large pelvic fins, capable of powerful movements through the water when moving in small herds. Behavior. Gasopods appear to be social in nature and may even use their emissions in their relationship rituals. Their audible calls are like signifiers of nearby threats or food sources. Assessment. Approach with caution. Acidic pods may be retrieved and repurposed. Ghost ray. This species is adapted to deep sea conditions. Its body is fully protected by translucent skin, and its large wings are capable of generating considerable thrust. Poisonous flesh. It is common for rays on 4546b. The ghost ray's flesh is inedible, making it one of the more resilient herbivores. Feeding behavior. Feeds on plant matter that is settled on the ground in deep sea caverns. Assessment. Inedible. Jelly ray. Jelly ray has adapted to low-light environments with translucent luminescent bodies. This adaptation may help to light up the surrounding area for foraging, ward off predators, and identify the organism to others of its kind. Light sensitivity. Smaller creatures have been seen swimming in the jelly ray's wake to take advantage of the light source for their own ends. The ray itself will approach light sources, perhaps mistaking them for others of its own species. Assessment. Inedible. Rabbit ray. An herbivorous aquatic lifeform, rabbit rays appear to live serene and solitary lives, with few predators, a natural sense of curiosity, and awesomely poisonous flesh. Ears. Twin orange appendages mounted on the head sense vibrations in the water. Undulating wings. Markedly similar method of transportation to that of Earth rays. Zero genetic resemblance detected, suggesting these two species independently developed similar solutions to their environmental circumstances. Evidence indicates its large, side-facing eyes are relatively recent adaptations. It is likely there are related ray species in other environmental biomes on the planet. Inedible but harmless. Sky ray. Sky ray has a bird-like head and feathered wings, which enable it to fly. Sky rays are commonly found circling floating structures and rarely venture far out to the sea. They will perch on dry land, but are prone to flee on approach. Wings. Although its wings give it some resemblance to a silhouette to the waterborne rays on 4546b, analysis shows no greater genetic overlap with those species than the planetary average. In fact, the sky ray appears to have split off the evolutionary tree much earlier than most. Diet. Largely seed-based, sky rays have not been observed diving for food, which implies they rely on land-based plants for survival. Presence may indicate nearby dry land. Or small, bladderfish. This unusual herbivore appears to be mostly defenseless and bears little resemblance to other life forms around it. Semi-permeable bladder. The bladderfish is able to filter air and seawater into its body cavity through a unique membrane which surrounds its spine-like bladder. It allows it to remove and consume organic particulate caught on the way and adjust its buoyancy. Open-ended vascular tubing can be angled and contracted to pump out water and achieve low-velocity guided propulsion. Largely oblivious to threats and practically immobile at night, its only identified defense mechanism is that it's composed almost entirely of water, air, and cartilage. Assessment. Edible. Oxygen may be retrieved from the bladder and added to tanks on consumption. Membrane has applications as a natural water filter. What? You could use it to get oxygen? Okay, boomerang. A herbivore encountered in large numbers, found in the frequent shallow waters and moving schools. Serrated teeth suggest adaptation for grinding corals. Other herbivores are unable to digest. Twin fins. Unusually, the species' two fins are the cartilaginous extensions of its skeleton. They are less prone to damage and provide superior propulsion, but they are also harder to grow back. The bright blue tips are in fact the end of its digestive tract, where the luminescence of the corals it consumes is mostly focused. Most active during daylight hours and prone to flee on approach, the boomerang can more easily be observed at night when luminescence gives it away and it seeks the shelter of the seabed. Edible. Aye. An extremely evolutionary adaptation where 90% of the lifeform's body mass is dedicated to the ocular cavity. Oversized eyeball. Deep-set rings in the lens suggest specialization for identifying its predators in low-light environments, long before they come into attack range. Underdeveloped fins. Incapable of fast movement, this species is vulnerable to agile predators at close range. Shark species may have evolved hunting techniques to close in on the eye unseen from above, below, or behind. This organism and the common peeper share a common evolutionary ancestor. While the eye sacrifices maneuverability, it shares and enhances its cousin's powerful eyesight. The ancestral alpha peeper may have been one of the first lifeforms on 4546b to develop eyesight many millions of years ago. Edible, low calorie count. Gary fish. Oh, it looks like Gary from SpongeBob. That's why it's called that. Slow-moving and curious herbivore, camouflage indicates an adaptation for evasive behavior on ocean floor. Eye stalks may be beneficial when watching for predators from hiding places among the coral. Behavior. More active during daylight hours, but slow and docile at all times. The Gary fish's survival depends on the combination of camouflage and predators. And predators who can get more filling meal elsewhere. Okay. Whole fish. A very small herbivore found in low numbers, often around cave system entrances where their skin coloration blends into the background. Bored out tail fin. By manipulating the size and shape of the hole in its tail, it can perform unpredictable maneuvers. Size. Smaller than most herbivores, presumably due to the lack of vegetation in low-light environments. Hoopfish. Small school mentality prey fish with a unique method of propulsion and a distant relative of the bladderfish. Antenna. Rather than swimming, this lifeform uses the fine green antenna, which encircle its body to alter the composition of the water in front of it, allowing it to sail into the low-density space created. Purple-green coloration. Maybe camouflage adaptation for mid-range light wavelengths, possibly indicating the hoopfish is more active at dawn and dusk. Behavior. While schools of hoopfish will form periodically and evade predators en masse, this behavior is more social than it is defensive, and lone hoopfish are often found hunting for food and displaying general curious behavior. Horish. A small, cautious herbivore commonly found in kelp-rich environments. Charged footpads. 6 unique limb appendages features charged pads capable of ionizing the surrounding water. The horish uses this ability to maintain its position against the current as it feeds from kelp and lichen. Magma ring. This organism is an adaptation of the common boomerang, evolved to survive in high-temperature environments. Coloration. Dark red coloration helps this subspecies to blend into the igneous rock environments. Orange detailing resembles active lava flow, deterring more cautious predators. Behavior. Marginally bolder than shallow-dwelling cousins, the magmarang will nonetheless flee any creature larger than itself with impressive speed. Oculus. This specimen shows genetic similarities with the common peeper. While the shallows and the cave systems are separated by just a few meters of rock, foodstuffs and threats in each biome are completely different. If it is possible, a small school of peepers was once cut off in the caves, and the Oculus species is how they adapted. Highly developed night vision. Large, complex eyeballs provide the herbivores superior vision in the dark and intense phobia of light. Lack of beak. While the peeper usually uses its beak to break down tough corals, the Oculus likely feeds off the soft fungal growth of the jellyshroom caves, and thus has no need for one. Separated tail fin. The caves in which the Oculus lives in make it hard to escape from fast predators. The Oculus is adapted by splitting its tail fin into 5 separate tendrils. These tendrils prevent it from swimming as fast as its shallow water cousin, but each can be detached and regrown, enabling it to escape more easily when caught. Peeper. A fast prey fish encountered in the shallow waters and rich in protein. Develops side-facing eyes, capable of discerning colors not just in shallow waters, but in a variety of lighting conditions. It is also able to close its eyelids, thus preventing light from reflecting off the lenses and rendering the peeper almost invisible to nighttime predators. Powerful fins. This species has evolved the powerful fins which enable rapid acceleration in the still water, and the ability to leap meters into the air to avoid pursuers. Beak. Likely used to break down corals and tough vegetation, an unusually large nasal cavity serves no obvious purpose and appears to be specifically evolved to detect a single specific enzyme. Nothing encountered on the planet so far produces a matching odor. Expulsion tubes. The tubes attached to the peeper's torso are connected directly to its stomach and gills, and appears to be designed to expel its contents on demand. Purpose unclear. While the peeper is well adapted to survive in shallow waters, a number of its features serve no discernible purpose. It would appear to be just as well suited to survive in deeper waters, and is somewhat more intelligent than the usual small herbivore. Edible, high calorie count. Further research required. I think this is made by the aliens. That's my theory. They made it by the aliens to hunt for the enzyme 42, and we never got enzyme 4. No, that wouldn't make sense. On a red eye, small herbivorous creature with poor maneuverability, evolved to inhabit high temperature environments. Thermal camouflage seems to. They have light blaze. Okay, this is exactly the same as. Wait, hold up. Okay, they're a little bit different. Deep red and orange coloration enables the substance to blend in volcanic and reflect environmental thermal energy, thus rendering it almost invisible to most predators. Delicate light-based eyesight is impractical at these temperatures, and the red eye has developed thermal vision in its place. In this species, volcanic domain, edible plant matter, potential predators are the coldest entities in range. Yeah. Reginald. Small herbivore and a distant relative of the common peeper, sharing that species' well-developed side-facing eye, approximate size, and body profile. Color shade. Due to the green coloration for deep water camouflage, luminescent trail coloration likely part of mating behavior. Diet. Filters algae and other plant material from the water via 4 gill-like forward-facing orifices. Oh shoot. Spadefish. Frick. I got it. Spadefish, a medium-sized herbivore found in deeper waters. Single eye, observed swimming near the seabed from where it can keep its one eye on predators in the water above. Mottled green coloration, commonly encountered in plant-rich environments. The spadefish is well adapted to hide amongst vegetation. Behavior. Spadefish tend to move in loose shoals, and despite their low speed, will take necessary maneuvers to avoid confirmed predators. Spinefish. Small school mentally prey fish, closely related to the hoopfish. Gray coloration. A combination of near-translucent skin with right rib-like markings gives the fish a deathly appearance. It takes advantage of this to avoid the attention of predators. Behavior. Moves in schools for protection, but will disperse and flee if necessary. Whereon those fortunate enough to escape the gaze of their assailants make for the sea floor and hide amongst the detritus. Edible, low calorie count. Okay, leviathans. Is that one below max? Or like in between them? Looks like they're all around that area. Okay. Ghost Leviathan. This creature is approaching the size limit for sustainable organic life forms and has been designated Leviathan class. Adult of the species have been encountered exclusively around the edge of the volcanic crater, which supports life on this part of the planet, and react with extreme aggression on approach. Hammerhead. Cartilaginous extensions of the creature's skull form a hammerhead which protects the ghost leviathan as it performs devastating ram attacks. Jaws. While fully capable of tearing through the flesh of any creature in range, all evidence indicates that mature ghost leviathans feed on microscopic life forms in the waters around the edges of the inhabited zone. The vicious attack on the interlopers to their domain are not predatory in nature but territorial. A creature so vast requires a huge expanse of water to satisfy its daily calorie requirements. Torso. Its muscled interior body is surrounded by translucent other membranes, suggesting adaptation for deep, low-light environments. When threatened, it can tense its entire body before lashing out with incredible speed. Life cycle. Probably migratory behavior. This specimen was likely born far from the area where it was encountered. Extreme threat. Avoid the crater edge. Okay. Boom. Juvenile. Okay, this large predator is adapted to live in deep waters and cave systems, attacking anything and everything in its quest to grow larger. Torso. Soft outer membrane and elongated body enable superior navigation of tight cave environments. Displays some similarities to other eel-like predators in the area. However, the ghost leviathan has covered over the electrical prongs on its inner torso with a taut, transparent membrane which delivers superior maneuverability. Diet. In its juvenile state, this leviathan feeds on larger herbivores and unfortunate members of its own species. They display a remarkable rate of growth, which shows no signs of stopping, suggesting that they must abandon their hatching grounds before they grow too large to make for open waters. Avoid. Reaper Leviathan. Leviathan class predator are vast organisms at the top of their respective food chains. This species is a streamlined hunter, with highly developed senses, powerful mandibles. Okay. This leviathan is capable of locking prey in place with 4 powerful mandibles and drawing it within reach of its jaws. Simulating pressure exceeds seamoth's crust resistance. Simulated pressure. Okay. Echolocation. The deep roar emitted by the Reaper at regular intervals is effectively sonar. If you can hear it, the Reaper can see you. 3. Profile. Scanned specimen measured 55 meters long. Observed circling its prey and attacking from behind. This creature is almost all muscle, very little brain, no sense of morality, just muscle. Synapses and teeth. Motivational note. Congratulations on getting close enough to scan it and living to see the results. Assessment. Extreme threat. Avoid in all circumstances. Reefback Leviathan. This vast life form is in excess of 30 meters long and has been designated Leviathan class. Fortunately, it feeds exclusively on plankton-like life forms in the water. Chitinous shell. Some of the life forms topside on and some of its underside is protected by thick layered exoskeleton. This suggests an evolutionary path quite different from other organisms on 4546b, most of which are vertebrate in nature. The reefback species has likely been able to grow far larger than other herbivores because anything large enough to break through its shell has long since gone extinct. Enzyme pods. Similar in appearance to the algae glands of the gasopod, these These organs on the reefback's underside serve some unknown purpose in its digestive system. Oh, it's just a whale. Is that its face? I always thought that is its face. Huh. So an unknown system, capable of expelling small quantities of stomach enzymes in the surrounding water. Local microcosm. An array of different barnacle and plant species grow on the reefback shell, thrusting their roots onto the ancient scars in the chitin, and taking advantage of their mobility to avoid predation. Nonetheless, reefbacks will often be pursued by the faster, hungrier herbivores, and thus this leviathan species is a mobile microcosm worthy of years of study in itself. Life cycle. Reefbacks' lifespan likely extend through many centuries should they survive their initial growth cycle. For the first few decades, their smaller size would make them vulnerable to carnivorous leviathans. Sociable, seen traveling in small pods and communicating by an echoing call, behavior is consistent with low-level sentience. Assessment: harbors plants, small fish, and metal-rich barnacles. Okay, sea dragon leviathan, a colossal leviathan with reptilian features, seen stalking at the very heat of the volcanic crater which underpins the life in this area. The scanned specimen measured 112 meters in length. Holy. Heat-proof tissue. Tissue analysis reveals the specimen consists of 1/3 inanimate materials focused around the chest area. Consumption and retention of mineral substance may explain the lifeform's ability to withstand extremes of temperature. It even appears to be able to consume molten materials and expel them at its adversaries. Forearms. The evolutionary distinct forearms are used for both propulsion and offensive purposes. Findings suggest evolutionary divergence from other species on this planet tens of millions of years ago. The sea dragon is likely one of the oldest species on this planet. Behavior. As the largest carnivorous species encountered on 4546b, almost everything is potential prey, with substantial targets. In the volcanic cave system, the sea dragon likely ventures out into cooler waters to hunt other smaller leviathans, cornering them and forcing them deeper, where they are ultimately boiled alive. The sea dragon's size and restrictions of the cave systems they inhabit suggest their population numbers are extremely low, perhaps in the single digits. While it is not unusual for larger predators to sustain lower populations, it is possible the sea dragon's food sources have diminished over time. The species may be nearing extinction. It's a good thing I killed one of them. Assessment. Extreme threat. Avoid at all circumstances. Sea Emperor Juvenile. Juvenile Emperor specimen is producing a highly potent form of enzyme 42, which should be capable of fully curing individuals of the alien bacterium. This species hatches relatively fully formed and independent, perhaps reflecting on the fact they must fend for themselves when they are first born away from their parents. This specimen is healthy and exhibiting signs of a positive attitude to life. Sea Treader Leviathan, a vast bipedal leviathan which roams the reefs and herds, grazing the seafloor. Antenna. Antenna on the creature's head can detect a range of scents, helping the sea treaders to find fresh grazing pastures, avoid the path of large predators, and sense chemical signals from others of their kind. Carpus. Thick armor protects the creature from attack by all but the largest of carnivores. 2 legs extend from the rear. An elongated snout, used to siphon up plant materials from the seafloor and maintain balance. Behavior. Large herds would decimate the flora of a single area, thus encouraging the sea treaders' migratory behavior. Families keep their young towards the center of the herd. The parents will lash out at overcursed interlopers in search of an easy meal. Assessment. Sea treader herds may unearth mineral deposits and churn up the sand. Okay, scavenger's paradise.
Seek fluid intake. Vital signs stabilizing.
Get more stuff.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Okay, let's read more. Okay. A moboid, a simple non-sentient organism found attached to land with high levels of fossilized organic matter. It feeds on this matter until it reaches maturity, at which point it divides to create two new genetically identical offspring, and the cycle continues. Ancient floater. Biodata suggests these fast floaters have matured in indigenous symbiosis with the land they have attached to. The attached landmass is raised in the water, increasing sunlight, encouraging plant growth. As older plants decay, organic residues and nutrients seep into the rock and are consumed by the floater. These circumstances must have held for thousands of years for a floater to reach this size. Life cycles. Immature floaters are born near the surface, from where they sink to the seabed, attaching to any stable surface they find on the way. Those individuals fortunate enough to attach to a digestible nutrient source will grow in size, thus increasing their buoyancy and drawing whatever they are attached to closer to the surface. In extreme circumstances, a number of floaters may attach to a Leviathan-class lifeform, forcing it to the surface and effectively asphyxiating it. The body will be consumed over a number of months until eventually dissolving, leaving the floaters free to attach to a new host. Those creatures which successfully raise a landmass to the surface are rewarded with a bourgeoising and permanent food supply, allowing them finally to reproduce and begin the life cycle again. Assessment: incredible. Huh. Didn't know they had that deep lore. Later, a simple parasitic organism, little more complex than the common space tick, but just as dirty. Ductile sac, used for collection and digestion of blood drawn from host creatures, jaws. Rows of teeth and mandibles used to attach to the skin of the victims. Behavior. The bleeder's low speed and poor defense suggest they have evolved primarily as carrion feeders, but they are also prone to target larger living creatures, which are less likely to notice and take action against this parasite. Such inconvenient and unhygienic. Avoid or incapacitate. Bloodcrawler, an agile, territorial scavenger that moves in packs across the seabed, closely related to the amphibious cave crawler, but adapted to deep-sea conditions. Legs. The greatest difference between the crawlers on 4546b are the four legs, which extended more than a meter from the blood crawler's torso, allowing it to move at surprising speeds across the seabed and even to scale walls. Torso. The blood crawler can lower its entire body to its mandibles within grasping distance of the carrion on which it feeds, while retaining the maneuverability it requires to avoid its predators. Assessment: necessary waste recycler. Avoid or incapacity. Cave crawler, agile, territorial carrion feeder, well adapted to both land and sea. Gas exchange membranes, absorbs essential gases from the air or water for basic body regulation. Mandibles. These species seek out corpses in packs before defending its claim while the corpse is devoured. Sorry, wait a cycle. Yep. Floater. Two species living in symbiosis which attach to and attempt to feed on any object they come in contact with. Dominant life form. The pink main body and inner suction jaw is the dominant creature. And once attached to the organism or other stable surface, it will attempt to leach nutrients in order to grow. Microorganism membrane. The outer gel-like substance is a mesh of microorganisms capable of forming a sealed vacuum around the creature's jaw. Helium buffer. A thin layer of helium is stored within the outer membrane, providing buoyancy to the floater and anything it is attached to. Assessment. May aid in flotation of sunken objects. Lava larva. A grub-like species which appears to lack sight and smell, but is able to sense and drain thermal and electrical energy in its immediate environment. Suction cup. Capable of attaching to smooth surfaces and during high-pressure suction, release if it comes under sufficient strain. Torso. Thick scales protect from extreme temperatures. The lava larva lacks a traditional digestive system. Instead, it powers its internal process directly from the energy it consumes. Behavior. Attracted to energy sources of all kinds, draws energy from its prey to survive. Avoid when piloting vehicles. Remove to conserve batteries. Rock grub. A small luminescent scavenger. Roughly thumb-sized, this creature may be a distant relative of the sand shark, sharing the species' unusual limbs, segmented exoskeleton, and burrowing behavior. Jaw. Its circular set of teeth is designed to tear up clumps of coral and seagrass caught on rocks. Limbs. 5 legs, 2 arms, and a large flipper allows the rock grub to cling to and walk across rock faces in search of food, and swiftly swim to safety when under attack. Green luminescence. Glowing green in the dark world would seem like a poor survival strategy, but this adaptation may be the mating behavior or other specialized process engaged in by only a fraction of the total population at any one time. Or perhaps being eaten is simply part of the rock grub's life cycle. Assessment: harmless. Shuttlebug, a common scavenger at the base of the food chain. Mouth parts. Small enough to be of little threat to most organisms, this creature is clearly adapted to feed on the waste products of the ecosystem around it. 3 mandibles. Used to orient themselves when drifting to filter through detritus on cave floors. 3 legs. High strength muscles can propel the lifeform great distances through the water, and as well as ambulating them across the seafloor. Assessment. Necessary waste recycler. Presence may indicate cave systems nearby. Okay, this is it. Last one. Exploitable acid mushrooms. A common spore-bearing fungi species flesh contains highly acidic compounds which leaches into the water if the outer skin is penetrated. It is not clear which predator species necessitated such extreme countermeasures, but the acid mushroom numbers has successfully deterred Muslim. Assessment. Inedible. Acid has application in battery fabrication. Bloodroot. This root system generally extends from one cave to another. Coiled root system. Where this root system breaks through into open water, its tendrils coil around one another to form enhanced structural integrity. Cave wall rooting. Where the root meets the cave wall, it penetrates into the rock and continues to grow, albeit at a slower rate. Both bloodroots and bloodlines produce blood oil postulates, which confirming that they are in fact one of the same flora species. The majority of the root system thrives within the rock itself, occasionally breaking into open water to reach untapped mineral resources, generating vines which feed on water-based nutrients. Bloodvine. This species of kelp grows in the sparse reefs, copses, deep on the ocean floor, providing shelters for an array of distinct fauna and megafauna. Survival at these depths is challenging, and one of the life forms which makes their way home here has developed unusual coping mechanisms, including a bleaching of skin pigment, dependency on naturally occurring metals and oils to adjust to temperature and pressure, and in some cases, even electrical defense mechanisms. The vibrant red oils, which seep from the bloodline, coagulate into semi-hard postulates, which frequently fall loose and form vital foodstuff for the local ecosystem, or otherwise reabsorbed into the ground over time. Bulbo tree, a bulb-based flora which roots to the ground and sprout turquoise leaves. Analysis suggests the sap produced by this plant is poisonous to insects, can be harvested and consumed by humans for its high water count. Okay. I'm just gonna. Yeah. Yep, didn't give me anything. Well, that's fun. Fun challenge. I enjoyed it a lot. That reading part was not fun.